According to the peak psychological body, mandatory pre-surgery counselling is often an unnecessary burden on the child. You know what's a unnecessary burden on a child? Is at 14 years old cutting their off. I'll be completely honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I was hesitant in making this video today because I don't want to seem like I'm coming across attacking children. That's not what I'm doing at all, not even slightly. What I'm absolutely going to do with this video is attack the reprehensible adults that are making decisions that are changing young people's lives forever, that are absolutely nothing less than atrocious misconducts as parents. You cannot even begin to imagine what's happening here, ladies and gentlemen. And I've been very vocal about this for some time. Many people in the trans community have written to me and they absolutely agree with me. Some of them completely disagree with me, but on the whole, the vast majority agree with what I'm saying about this. Most of them just want to get on with their lives and they don't want to be caught up in this political debate, but it rages on. Now, before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to today's video sponsor, the great people at Surfshark VPN. Honestly, if you're using the internet absolutely anywhere in the world, whether it's cafes, whether it's hotels, does it at the Maccas with the free Wi-Fi, you need to have a VPN to keep everything secure and keep your privacy intact. Surfshark VPN helps encrypt your data like banking information and stops those bloody dirty criminals from attacking your info. Alright, they step in there and they save the day, the Surfshark peeps. But it also allows you to access geo-restricted data. So say you're in Australia, like most of us are, and there's a show in America that you really want to watch on Netflix, but guess what? You don't live in America, and for some reason in 2019 you can't get access to it. You log into your VPN and all of a sudden they think you're in America. And you get to watch that Netflix program. Hooray! But here's the best part, ladies and gentlemen, and this will absolutely blow your mind. If you put in the code BUTSMAN, you will get 83% off and 1 month for free. That is absolutely ballistic. It's the best deal going. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you support Surfshark VPN because they support this channel. I'd just like to point out that I made this video because of one article that I read. Transgender children under the age of 16 should be able to undergo surgery without their parents' permission, according to the top Australian psychologists. I'm honestly shocked. The Australian Psychological Society, what a name, represents 24,000 professionals within the country, says the disapproval of both parents should not inhibit a child under the age of 16 from consenting to procedures. Dear the Australian Psychological Society, are you out of your fucking mind? These are children you are talking about. Kids, 13, 14, 12, and you're saying that they should be able to choose what happens to their body that will change them forever? We don't even allow them to buy alcohol that could change their body forever. You don't even let them buy tobacco that could kill them, hurt them, harm them. You say they're too young to make those decisions. You won't even let them vote. They can't even buy a lotto ticket or a fucking scratchy, and yet you are saying that they can get a surgery without their parents' permission that will drastically change the course of their lives. That's fucking absolutely crazy. However, we must remember that a child who is going through this part in their lives is obviously in a very difficult position, and I cannot begin to imagine what it feels like to be born into a body that you believe that you do not belong in. I can't even imagine what that's like, okay? Obviously, I'm not versed in the subject. And I know a lot of these kids are growing up and they're terrified of one thing, and that is puberty, because that will change their bodies more and more into the sex that they were born with. And I get that. I get that that's horrifying and terrifying and worrying and all those things, but that's a part of life that you need to learn to deal with. Many, many things happen to every single person that they cannot control, and they probably shouldn't be able to control in life, that affects them forever. And I understand that right now in your life you think that this is the best thing for you, but our minds change. I'm a completely different person now at 26 to who I was at 16. My thoughts on the world, everything that I do during the day is vastly different. I have different beliefs, I have different ideologies, completely different. And to think that if I was 16 years old and I went to make a decision that would change me from then to now terrifies me. Because I was dumb as dog shit when I was 16 years old. I'm not overly much more smarter, but I'm not as fucking stupid as I was then. We grow, we develop, we become more intelligent, we become more in touch with ourselves, and we understand our bodies more. I know this is a tough subject, I get that, and it's fucked up that we even have to talk about it. But unfortunately, sometimes in life you just have to run with what you're given. But what's more terrifying than the Australian Psychological Society is the drugs that some of these young kids are being prescribed to stop puberty coming on. The FDA in America documented more than 40,500 adverse reactions to drugs Lepron and Tiptoline between 2012 and June of this year. Over 25,500 reactions, over 50%, were labelled as serious, which included 6,370 deaths. Now these pills, these drugs are, they're prescribed for other things as well, like breast disorders, malignant neoplasma, and psychiatric and nervous disorders. But they're also given to kids to stop puberty. That is a drug that is very, very dangerous, and these kids are taking it at a very young age. This is a volatile situation, and I fear that kids are being harmed by this. That's what I really hate about this situation, is kids are being harmed. According to the peak psychological body, mandatory pre-surgery counselling is often an unnecessary burden on the child. You know what's a fucking unnecessary burden on a child? Is at 14 years old cutting their cock off. That is horrifying, to think that a 14-year-old can make that decision about their body. At this point, it's easier to get a sex change than to get a fucking tattoo. Is that the world we want to be in? Parents who disapprove of their children's medical treatment pose a significant barrier for the child, it said. Good. There should be a barrier. Of course there should be a barrier. It's your job as a parent to build a barrier to stop your children from harm. That is your job. Keep them protected. Keep them safe. Let them live a long and fruitful life, especially when you start to see stats like this. The study in Sweden that was conducted over 30 years found that 10 to 15 years after surgical reassignment, the suicide rate of those who had undergone sex reassignment surgery rose to 20 times that of its comparable peers. I think this leaves us with an obvious lesson here. And if I can, I'll digress onto something that doesn't make sense right now, but will make sense in the end. When I was younger, I was extremely overweight. I'm not in peak performance at the moment. The old beach bod is not ready, but I was a very fat, overweight teenager. And I hated my body. I had people who used to pick on me about it all the time, all that type of shit. And I hated it. And all I wanted to do was change. So what I did was, when I was about 21 years old, I lost 34 kilos eating a ketogenic diet. And I was a lot skinnier, probably too skinny. I'm 6'8", I got down to 94 kilos. And I thought that that would change how I felt about my own body. It didn't. I always wanted to be more tan or more muscular or more this or more that or a longer... Anyway, it's one of these things where no matter what you do in life, you'll always want to find a little bit more. And that is a lesson that I learned early on, is that you cannot allow yourself to try and find happiness from external stimulus. You must find that from within. And I think that's what a lot of these trans kids need to understand, is that your happiness will not come from a sex reassignment surgery. It needs to come from within yourself. You need to find that within your own being, and that is something that you cannot do at 14 years old. Your physical look may change, but the mental unrest will continue for a lifetime. And this came days after a large group of people petitioned the government to have an inquiry into gender dysphoria because of the massive increase in kids coming forward with gender dysphoria. A Western Sydney professor, John Whitehall, is taking a stand against minors being prescribed puberty blockers. He started a petition with over 260 doctors signed within the last 3 days. The professor is concerned for children as young as 10 getting the medication. The veteran paediatrician said that puberty blockers taken as a forerunner to cross-sex hormones and sex change surgery also had the potential to stunt bone growth and memory. The blockers affect the limbic system. The volume of the brain decreases at a rate of 10 times faster than aging when on these drugs. I guess there is no clear-cut case here. Everyone has their own opinions, and that's why I'm going to turn this story onto you guys. I want to know what you think in the comment section below. I want to know if you're a 10-year-old kid watching this for some reason. I want to know what you think. I want to know if you're 60 years old, and I want to know from everybody else in the middle. Ladies and gentlemen, be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. Me stinks. And don't forget to check out my merch store, because there's new merch. Check out this and that. Holy dooly, we're looking absolutely beautiful. Coming into the summer, if you don't have one of these stubby holders, you are joking yourself. Be a good motherfucker. I already said that. Bye.